The views and opinions of the guest does not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the host, the show, and the team. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of IDK What To Say. This is the show where we figure things out and learn from the best. And I'm so stoked with today's episode because we are going to talk to somebody who sees moving or being successful in a different route. Like our past guest has been people who've been through college and who's gotten a degree, and this guy has an alternate way, and I'd love to pick his brain about it. He's going to be releasing a an app or social media platform where you get to debate, and that's something that is very timely right now because I mean, you see what's happening online on Twitter and all that stuff, and to be able to have a platform where people could talk, that's really good. And I would love to talk about the features. Anyways, let's give it up for the founder of Differ. That's DIFR. It's Luis Longoria. Hey, Luis, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Hey, man, I'm doing good. It's night there. It's morning here, but man, we love that you're on the show.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So before we start, man, I want to know, what is Differ all about?
Difference about being able to speak your mind, especially in my beliefs, everything's about timing, right? Everything's about timing. You couldn't have Facebook 20 years ago or Twitter 20 years ago because just the technology wasn't there. And with this whole cancel culture and the other social media feeds blocking people's content, what I'm doing is that I'm allowing people to debate on anything that they want to debate upon. So, for example, I'm not saying that the earth is flat, so don't get me wrong, but suppose I say the earth is flat, right? Again, I'm not saying that, but I believe I should have a right to say that. Now, I'll provide the facts as to why I believe the earth is flat, right? So the whole thing's that I have to hear both sides of the story, not one. So, Paulo, after you hear my debate, and I want to keep this short. This will be basically like a video Twitter, right? Twitter is very quick, 280 characters, right? We're talking about a minute, 15 seconds max for me to make my points as to why the earth is flat. And you go, well, now here's the evidence why the earth is round. And you can provide photos or facts or whatever. So what's going to happen is my video will pair with your video. They'll upload, let's just say it's a 2.5 minute video. Let the world decide who's right or wrong, who made their facts pointed out better. I'll give you an example. So me and my wife, we tested the theory of Walmart versus Target, right? I don't know if they have Walmarts and Target in your neck of the woods, but I didn't want Walmart, but I got stuck with debating Walmarts, right? So they're cheaper. There's more locations. They're open 24/7. And her pitch was she didn't ever make the point as to why Target was better. She just dogged on Walmart, right? And I pointed that out was where she didn't make her argument. She just dogged on my Walmart. She was talking about the people are trashy or whatnot. And I don't necessarily disagree with her, but the point is she didn't make her argument, right? And the people who watched that debate heard the arguments that I pitched, and I ended up winning the debate because she did a lousy point of arguing her point, So Differ will just give you the opportunity for any subject, right? Just imagine racism, that hot topic alone, right? So someone gets shot tonight in Aurora, there's 10 cops shooting this innocent guy. Well, that's going to go viral instantly because that's such a passionate debate, right? It's a passionate subject. But I don't want it just to be these hot button topics. This is going to be any topic of the day, any topic you feel like debating. Big term is to roll this out to high school, so high schools will be able to debate. So even in a situation where we're quarantined, the way things are crazy right now, having these debates from different people across the nation and across the world, the technology is there. The timing's now to have that dialogue.
Yeah, man. I would assume it would have been very interesting the night after your debate with your wife got out and people got to chime in their opinions on it. But I'm going to this platform. I think that's really amazing and really good. And the reason is I feel that with platforms like Twitter or Facebook, people could hide under a fake account and write whatever they want without any accountability. But since this is going to be on video format, people could see your face, could listen to your point of view. So, number one, you wouldn't be as mean as you would want to be. And number two, you're going to make sure that whatever you say, you would be able to take in whatever reaction you get from the audience. So that's really interesting, that social media platform of yours.
Hey, you got to be spontaneous. You have to be spontaneous. You're going to get exposed if you don't know what you're talking about, right? The thing is, know what you're talking about, know your facts, and in any debate, you got to remove the emotions, right? The feelings and the emotions have nothing to do with the facts. So get your facts, get to the point, be very short, very concise, but it'll also be really fun. I see people debate all the time on Twitter or on Facebook, but I'm like, why don't you just take it to a video? Why not just take your feed to a video?
Exactly,
But then,
exactly.
well, what about that person that, right now there is an attack, and again, this is a controversial, discussion or the subject is there's an attack on white people, right? So if a white person wants to defend another white person, and the other person's a minority, let's just say, well, I don't want to discourage that quote unquote white person from debating. So there's going to be different avatars. If I want to hide my face, right? If I want to have an avatar of Return of the Jedi or whatever, character covering my face, I still want to be able to hear that person's voice, because that person's voice should be heard. No one should shut that person's voice up. Let that person pitch their remarks. Be passionate about what they care to be passionate about, and let the world decide who wins that argument.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Now, this sounds so timely. I would love to know when did this brainchild happen of yours. I'd love how you got inspired by it, because literally last year is the perfect time for differ to happen because of everything in the whole world. Like not just in the US, even in the Philippines, I could see differ being a good platform for people to actually debate on something. And man, I'd love to know, when did this happen? When did you have this idea come into
Well,
you?
the initial idea came about 7, 8 years ago, mainly because I'm married, and when you're married, you debate a lot, right? You get into a lot of arguments. But the thing is, I'm from Texas, my wife's from Minnesota, and the way I talk and the way she talks, talking two different languages, right? So where I'm from, we call everything Coke, right? Everything is Coke. If I ask you, hey, Paulo, do you want a Coke? And you said, sure, then I'll say, well, what kind of Coke do you want? Do you want Sprite? Do you want 7 Up? Do you want Mr. Pibb? And you're looking at me like, you just said Coke. You didn't say anything about Sprite or 7 Up. And so what we would do is we'd take this on Facebook, right? So, of course, the people from Texas would take my side. The people from Minnesota would take her side, because we're coming from two different worlds, right? So we had these Friday night debates, like who would win these debates, but there was no video content. It was just pure audio, or just me typing in words on Facebook. And we got like a lot of traction. We had a lot of fun with it. Well, I'm a very strong-minded, strong-willed person, so my convictions in certain areas are very, very strong. And so, as life continues to journey, and we have a daughter, and we believe certain ways of how we should raise our daughter, I was like, you know what, man, this is the perfect time to kind of to get this up and going. So this is something that's been in my head for about 6 or 7 years. Uh, Again, life is all about timing. And now that these other social media feeds are starting to push people away and silence them what they can and cannot say, I think this is the right time to get Differ up and going.
Yeah, man, and just to go with that Coke thing, in the Philippines, toothpaste is called Colgate. So sometimes if people would buy on the stores, they would ask for a Colgate and go for a different brand. So it's pretty much, I get the Coke reference in there. Now, for everyone listening right now, I guess it's safe to say, I could say that you don't have any college degree. I would love to know, because this is the show where we give people an idea how to do things, and especially on your case where you don't have a college degree. How did you start this project of yours? Who did you find? Like, what's your step one, and until you reach this app which is set to release?
It's just a matter of talking to people. It's not that I'm really anti-college, but to a certain extent, I think college is a scam. If I want to go in for a specific subject and I have to take these basics, what the hell does algebra and advanced algebra got to do with the field that I'm trying to pursue, right? On top of that, I'm guaranteed to be in instant debt. I'm guaranteed to take a college loan out essentially and be in debt. And how many people do we know that's been to college, have degrees, and they're working at McDonald's or they're working in a whole different field, right? So I believe in sweat equity, trial and error. The biggest way to learn is unfortunately by failing. And so I don't need a college degree. I don't need a professor. I don't need someone that wants to tell me about life and how the world works when you're in a classroom. I'm sorry, but I like to touch things, feel things, learn it myself. In life we fall down, right? And if we didn't fall down and feel that pain and didn't get scraped and go to the doctor, then you wouldn't live to learn. So in my thoughts, congratulations for those who pursued a college degree. I'm not hating on you. But for me, that just wasn't the road. It wasn't the financial road. As a kid, my dad had a sixth grade education. My mom, no, I'm sorry, my mom had a ninth grade education. My dad had a sixth grade education. It was if I can go to my parents and say, "Hey, mom and dad, can you help me with my algebra?" They look at me like I was crazy. So I just have a strong work ethic, a grind that college doesn't do anything for me. So I did to venture out, make my own mistakes, get kind of scraped up a little bit, and figure things out on my own. And great minds. Elon Musk is not a fan of college either, and so I believe it's just about the mindset that you have. If you have a good mindset, a good work ethic, you think positive, it's just a matter of time before things get right in your way.
Yeah, I hear you. And to provide context to all the listeners who aren't living in the United States, college loans are one of the hot bottom topics when it comes to studying there. I mean, my sister, as of the moment, is going through college already. And yeah, I'm thinking that, my mind is already on what her college loan deal would be. But yeah, man, with regards to what you said, it is really nice that you were able to navigate your own way in this world where most people would go this route, and you already chose a different one, and you make valid points. But just to be clear to everyone listening, he Lewis is not discouraging anyone from going to college, but he's encouraging everybody to try figure out a more easier path, or a path that would work for you as a person. Can you agree with that, Luis?
Absolutely. Listen, pursue your dreams, pursue your passions, pursue life the best way you can, but there's not one way to do that. You got to figure it out yourself. And some people start college and figure it out. Damn, I shouldn't have gone to college. Some people excel at college. I'm just not a textbook guy. It is what it is.
Exactly. But yeah, your plan is really nice, and you did mention guys like Elon Musk, even Mark Zuckerberg, and I believe Steve Jobs to an extent. They didn't actually finish college and went with this tech startup thing. And speaking of that, I've always asked this to some of our tech startup guests, like, how were you convinced to do this? Especially, you said 7 or 8 years ago you had this idea, and probably at that time apps like Facebook or even Twitter or Instagram aren't as big as it is now. I mean, what what inspired you, or what made you think that this is going to be something lucrative in the future? Is it really the money, or do you really have so much passion on the concept of having differ?
I love to debate. I will on purpose choose the side I don't even really believe in just to kind of poke your brain. Like I said, I've been in management for about 20, 21 years. And when I'm interviewing another candidate for a job, I'm picking their brain. And I'm trying to see if I can convince them to think my way. A good, strong minded person knows what they believe in. And they won't side with me just to please me, please the person that they're trying to get the job from. Um, Very passionate about debating. And I've always heard, and I can't say I know this for a fact, but I keep on hearing the words, if you do something that you love, then you'll never work another day in your life, right? Well, again, I love to debate. I love good intellectual debate. And there's so much talent out there in the world, right? You look at TikTok and these people are doing these quick videos, and there's some talented people out there, right? But they're showcasing, what with their bodies or their hands or their stunts. I'm saying it's time to showcase your mind from the intellect side, right? Um, and I think a lot of people's talents out there can be broadcasted and showcased to the world on how spontaneous and how smart they can be and how witty they can be. That all can be very entertaining at the same time.
Exactly. Now, going back to differ, one of my questions is, how much freedom would you allow your users to talk? Because I'm sure you're aware, you love debates, you've been in a lot of them. I've been in a handful of them as well. There's that fine line where people are talking about the topic at hand, then when they feel they're losing, they start attacking the person, or start saying, and that could cause that could cause something that would cross the borders of making it already offensive for the person you're debating against.
Yeah, I have no bully people, right? So if I want to debate you on a topic, Paulo, I'll debate you on a topic. But if I start calling you a piece of shit, I'm sorry, that there's no line for that. This is an intellectual debate. Stick to the subject, stick to the facts, let the world decide. But I won't let my daughter get bullied. I won't let my wife or my loved ones get bullied. I'm not going to let someone that joins my platform to be bullied either. So stick to the facts, let the world decide who wins the debate, and move on.
So would, like, if I would post a video, would it immediately be posted, or would some moderator or quality control from your app be able to review it for a quick while before it being posted on the internet?
There'll be algorithms for certain words, certain offensive words. I'm not this ultra PC guy, politically correct guy, but I mean, there's a line out there. I'm sorry, but there is a line out there, and if you cross that line, we're not going to not only are we not going to upload your video, but you can't have an account with us. This is for the intellectual mind, the quick-witted person. But at the same time, we can all be respectful. We can have a difference of opinions, but let's also, be respectful towards one another. We're all humans. We all desire to be respected and loved and adored and whatever. Those same human rules would apply.
Wow, man, just you saying that, if there's an algorithm for me saying a specific word on video, is that what you mean? If I say a certain, let's say a certain offensive word on video, your algorithm would detect it. Is that what you're saying?
That's what we're working on right now. Yeah, certain words, certain offensive words, and that list today may be different tomorrow. you know, so it's going to be very fluid, and you'll have to agree to my terms and service. And that'll be part of my terms of service is, hey, no derogatory words, no offensive words. Stick to the subject. Just stick to the subject. Stick to the facts. Let the facts be your guide, so to speak.
That is so ingenious of you, man, and I understand why you have to release it in the U.S. first, because clearly all over the world, there's going to be different offensive words. So yeah, I think it's best to perfect it there first before anything else.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
yeah, going on. Oh yeah, go on, please. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, every country has its own culture, and I wouldn't be an expert in the Philippines culture, for example. So I would have to have internal people working there and to know the culture and to know what's offensive, what's not offensive, and then again, it's not a one for all rule. Each country or each ethnicity just kind of responds differently to certain things.
Yeah, definitely. Now we talked about differ. I guess it's time they get to know you. If you could share with us any background on how you were growing up and until you reached this milestone of yours.
Yeah. Yeah. I have obviously my own and grew up with a mother and a father. I have three other siblings. Grew up dirt poor, man. I kind of joke about being half Amish because every other month it seems like our power was cut out. Um, just because we couldn't pay the bills. Both sides of my neighbors at the time grew marijuana plants. That's the environment we were in. I recall we kind of make fun of my brother. My brother's about 4 years older than me, and our gas or our water would get cut off because parents couldn't afford to pay the bill. And my brother would sneak out in the morning and fill the water. And we all had like 15 minutes to take a shower. It's a family of six in total. And then I remember like at the corner of our house, the bus would be there to pick up my brother. And so he would have to run to the front yard, cut off the water, and then head onto the bus. Um, and so we grew up in that environment to where, like, your mama jokes were a big thing back in the day, right? And you had to be
Yeah,
spontaneous and, you had to have good wit. And the funny thing is that, even though I grew up poor and I grew up in a tough environment in a tough neighborhood, I wouldn't change that for the world. I really honestly wouldn't change it for the world. I learned a lot about the value of a dollar, the value of family, just the value of sticking together, right? But I also learned that where you start from in your life doesn't, if you grow up and you use the excuse of, man, well, I grew up in this neighborhood, in this environment, I am who I am. That's crap, man. That's absolute crap. There has to be a time in your life where you make a decision to grow your shell and not be a product of your environment. And so the way I cope with that is, so my name is Lewis. Anyone that knows Rick was a punk, right? Rick was addicted to stealing. Like I said, I did marijuana at the age of 6. I was on my way to being a scrub. That would do time. And I just grew up one day, literally one night. I just said, you know what? I'm sick and tired of being this punk. I'm sick and tired of having all this anger and anxiety. It's me to make a change because at the end of the day, I'm responsible for myself. My parents did the best that they could with what they had. They didn't have the education and money, and so I just learned to just to be a different person, and that meant literally for me, it was me changing my name to my real first name. So Lewis was the businessman, or at least the trying to be the businessman, and live my life right. I've always had a hustle and a burning desire in me to make it, And unfortunately, my parents did pass away. My dad passed away over a year ago. My mom passed away of cancer about 7 years ago. And so, unfortunately, even though my parents absolutely loved me with their heart, I can honestly, I never heard it. I'm proud of you. I've never heard those words from my parents, and obviously they're gone. Uh, but I want to be able to make it, and whatever that word "make it" means, it's different to each and every person. But I want to be able to feel that my parents looking down at me can say, you know what, Mijo, you made it, and that's important to me.
I think that's already close to happening. I'm sure they're smiling on you right now. I do have to ask, especially for the listeners right there. You mentioned that there was that one night where you decided that you wanted to be a better person. What was the first step that you've done in order to better yourself?
I want to make my mom happy, so I actually went for her, and it was like a 2 hour service. I would say about an hour and 20 of that was singing. So I had my arms crossed, like, man, this is so boring. I can't do this, right? So then again, the next week, Mijo, you should go to church. She was so proud of me. So I went to church, and this time was a lot less singing and more like preaching, right? And I thought the guy was literally talking to me. The pastor was like, he didn't know who the heck I was, and he was literally talking to me. I'm like, wow, this is crazy, right? So this is someone who I didn't grow up in a church. Didn't grow up again. I was drinking at the age of 8, smoking at the age of 6, right? And so within, I would say, those 6 to 7 weeks, I went up to the head pastor and said, "Hey, can I teach your Sunday school class?" And that's just that entrepreneurship in me, right? I'm like, I'm a leader. I'm a natural leader. I want to teach your class. Have you ever read a Bible? Not even close, man. I came in there so cocky, like I'm good at talking to people. I'm good at motivating people. Just going to tear up this class, right? So I remember he let me have that class, and this was an adult class. And I finished that class in 5 minutes. This is like a 45-minute Bible, Sunday school session. I literally had nothing to say after 5 minutes. And I was like, oh my God, I got nothing to say. I don't know anything about the Bible. And all I saw was my mom being proud. She was so proud of me, man. And I would do anything to make my mom proud.
Yeah, man. I think one of the cool thing that you said, and that's the same thing I do also, is that, I try to do things or think I can do things even if I'm not aware I could. You said you tried to teach Sunday school without any prior experience of teaching Sunday school. And that's also why the title of this podcast is IDK What To Say, because really in life it's too short, but at the same time, if you don't dip your toes into something, you really won't have a start. And I'd rather fall flat first and learn to stand up from it than just try be a perfectionist and figure it out until you lose confidence, and then you eventually don't do it.
Oh, I totally agree with you. The good thing about I have thick skin, and I'm very comfortable in my skin, which are two huge things. So I've never cared what anyone's thought about me. I could care less if you think my tennis shoes are hideous or whatever. This is even in high school. Like, I didn't have any peer pressure or stress because I can care less what you thought. Because the way I look at you is, you know what, in 5 years, 10 years from now, I'm not going to know you anyway. So you're
Yeah.
not really important to me, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's true. And also, at the end of the day, if you let somebody else dictate how you want to do your life, then you're not going to be able to do anything. Because I'm sure, especially right now, where things like Twitter or social media are so accessible, everybody would say something about anything you do. And the more you listen to them, the more you lose confidence. So, yeah, having thick skin is really something important right now, especially when following what you think is a good thing. I mean, this podcast right now, I'm not sure if anyone in the Philippines is doing it, but I feel it's something that could help in the long run. And since it is fairly new, a lot of people are going to be. That's the thing, man. If something is new, they wouldn't get it until they get it. Everybody will think you suck until you don't. So all you have to do is just keep putting the work in, and one day they're gonna realize that you were right all along,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're not doing anything in life, no one's saying anything about you that's bad. You're
Exactly.
you're following the fish. You're with the fish. But the moment you decide to walk out and stand up for something or want to do something, and you feel the hate and the negative comments, that actually means there's something's about to happen.
Uh,
You're making a change. And if there's no resistance, if you go to the gym and you don't feel any resistance, you'll never make any gains. Because if you're lifting 2 pound weights and it's just so easy, you're never going to make any gains, right? But with more resistance comes more muscles, with more, So I believe in challenging myself and let the haters hate. It doesn't faze me.
I agree. Now, I know you don't care about the haters, but there is one opinion you would care about, and that is your wife. What was her first thoughts when you told her, "Hey, I want to start different"?
She very supportive because she knows
That's
that
nice.
I like to debate. I like to debate. She doesn't she wouldn't be the kind of debates on there, but she would watch it, right? She doesn't like confrontation. I don't think differ is for everyone. It's definitely a niche market. But it's like watching a car wreck, man. You want to see that car wreck. You don't want to be in the car wreck. Hell, I don't want to be in the car wreck either. But she's very supportive. She's great. She's beautiful, and I can't do it without her. To be honest with you, I need that. that support. And coming from someone that has thick skin, having your wife or your spouse support you is very important.
Yeah, man. I would assume your wife is very kind because you mentioned she's from Minnesota, and I heard people from Minnesota are some of the nicest people in the world. But yeah,
I would debate that.
oh, okay. Well, that's something that we could put on differ when it comes out. But yeah, man, going to what you're saying, man, aside from the car wreck, it's a perfect place to educate oneself because sometimes, if you post something on Twitter and you get swarmed immediately by people who are against your thought, then your idea is going down the algorithm. But when you put it in differ, where people could hear it in the intonation that you said it, in the way that you worded things, then they would be like, hey, I mean, I'd love to listen to this guy because, if I said okay on Twitter, it could be okay that I'm angry, or it could be okay I'm saying it calmly. You don't know the emotion of the person saying it, but in differ, if you could say it in a way that is for people to listen and say, hey man, he's saying it in a nice way, I think I should give him the benefit of the doubt and listen to what his opinions are.
Oh, absolutely. And the whole point, like everyone has a cell phone, right? So as you're hearing that person make a point, you can hit the little like button and it will tally up every time someone likes the point you're making. So it could be someone that you don't really agree with in their philosophy, but if that person makes a good point, they deserve your vote in making a good point. A fact is a fact. Whether you agree with it or not, it's another story. And so there's going to be a point system of who wins the debate, right? So if you make a great point and I don't really like you and I don't agree with your point of view, but you make good points, I want to vote for that. And before you know it, if you're really honest with yourself, you actually might give the person that you disagree with the most points because that person made the better logical debate, the better argument. And so I think that hearing both sides of the story will actually make people appreciate the other person more. I mean, there's so many quote unquote safe spaces out there where the average person only hangs around the people that look like them and think like them. And I'm breaking that wall. I want to break that wall down. And it all begins with a conversation. In order to make change, you have to have a conversation first.
Man, it's funny. I'm just thinking of it right now. Differ would have been a good platform for the presidential debate to take place because you cannot like overlap someone talking, and the thing you say will be based on people watching, and not on the physical crowd reaction, or the jousting, the verbal jousting.
Yeah, actually, one of my plans is I think doing it. We have another debate or another voting system in about 2 years, but I think that's a little too soon for differ. But the whole point is in 4 years, maybe as early as even 6 years, is to have the political debates on there as well. So you won't have someone over talking anyone else. And also the moderators won't be skewed because it's the people that are going to be asking the questions. And they'll be fair questions, so it'll go on both sides of the aisle and let people decide, man. Unfortunately, the media is biased. I don't care what anyone says. Media has an agenda, and the agenda is viewership, right? But my perspective is I just want to hear the facts, and then I'll do whatever I want with the facts, right? But I don't have an agenda. I don't have a political agenda on differ. I just want to hear both sides of the story, and whoever makes the better argument gets my vote.
Exactly, man. And you saying that the people could ask the question on differ is such a game changer. I mean, imagine when people have control, just like what happened on GameStop and the stocks. I believe that was Robinhood,
Mhm.
and since that they already made like some changes in terms of how you use the app, but it shows how much power the people don't actually have in their hands right now.
Oh, you're absolutely right. And if I had differ live at that very second, that would have been one of the hot topics, right? For the week is uh, about was it a scam? Was it right? Was it because there's some billionaires that lost a lot of money, but here in America, the rich are being attacked. think of the logic behind it. I'm not saying I'm for or against what happened. That's not here nor there. But if you're rich, you're the bad guy. Like, I'm sorry, I thought we were all trying to, make money for ourselves and uh, make a better life for ourselves. And I think entrepreneurship's the way to go. Working for yourself and building the life and the dream that you always wanted. You just gotta step out. But I'm looking forward to what the people can do. It's not really me or my team. It's what people like you or whoever's going to be using Differ is. That's what's going to make the platform.
I hear you. But just for like all the people listening, it's not, you can make differ the way you want it to be. It doesn't have to be very political at all times. You know, you could make a debate on who, which is the better shoe brand, if it's Nike or Adidas. It's a great way for people to have an insight, like if you have this amount of money, what's the best shoe to buy at the moment, right?
Right. Sports, I think, is a huge genre. Humongous genre. And here in the states, who's the goat? Who's the greatest of all time? Is it Tom Brady? Is it Michael Jordan? Is it Wayne Gretzky? What's the best sport? Is it soccer, or we call it soccer, whatever? Um, there's always room for debate. Those are fun debates. There's no real truth in that, but that's always fun to debate who the greatest sports athlete is of all time. And I'm looking forward to really really hitting up the sports genre.
Yeah, man. The more you bring these things up, the more I get more excited. Because in the Philippines, they keep debating on if LeBron is the goat or not. And in the beginning, well, yeah, I mean that's your opinion. I'm not into basketball. I'm not into basketball, but
Okay.
you know that the Philippines is a big basketball country. In case you're not aware, by the way. But yeah, I mean, it came to a point where instead of people are debating on his accolades, they just started making memes, and they're not. It's funny, but at the same time, you're not making a point. You know, there's no data backing up what you're saying. It's just a funny picture, and having something like differ where people could say, "Hey, this is his stats. This is Jordan's stats," and all that. Man, this is really going to be fun. I could see the Philippines using it a lot when it comes to basketball content.
Yeah, I'm more of a Kobe Bryant fan than I am a LeBron James fan. And even though I could argue the stats, I don't think the stats tell all the story. The way I look at Kobe is this. First of all, he's one of my probably my greatest mentor, my greatest idol. Um, the man had a whole team and a 7-foot giant telling him to pass, saying, Kobe, pass the ball, pass the ball. And this guy had the balls to go against his coach. And you can call it cockiness or arrogant. That is supreme confidence in yourself. Think about it, man. If you have the whole entire team saying pass the ball, and you're like, nope, I can take this, and the day he passed away, that was for me. It felt like I lost someone, like a brother that I actually knew. The impact he had in sports for me. Again, you can't look at numbers. He just had to me a much much bigger impact in basketball and outside of basketball than a LeBron James. Just my
Hey
debate.
man,
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. In case you are unaware, Kobe is probably the biggest star in the Philippines. He's been
Mhm.
here quite a few times, and he's done a lot for our basketball scene. And I mean, I think just a week ago was the anniversary of his death. You would see that there are a lot of stores here who made like Mamba inspired merch for Kobe, and that shows how much impact he had in the country. I don't know if you're aware, but they say Manila is an extension of the LA Lakers. So when Dwight Howard came here to play for the Rockets
No.
after leaving the Lakers, man, you should have been here and you should have heard the crowd. They gave it to him, but they also respect basketball in general. Like guys like LeBron or any other NBA player comes here, they go do a lot of basketball charity, and they really showed love But yeah, if this was an NBA game, this is Laker City all throughout.
Nice, nice, nice. I mean, then you have in boxing, you have Manny Pacquiao, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm a big Manny Pacquiao fan. Again, differ is it's any subject at any given time where two people can have a debate. And I'm looking at
Yeah, you
your
see
screen
that?
right now. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, I'm not a Dwight Howard fan by any means.
But you got a ring last year, so I guess the Lakers did good for him after all.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people have rings. Doesn't mean that they're good. You know,
Now, yeah, man, going to what you said, you are a Manny Pacquiao fan, but correct me if I'm wrong, you are Mexican, right?
I'm Mexican American, absolutely.
So there was this thing in Pacquiao's early career that he is like a lot of
The
Mexicans don't like
executioner.
him.
He
Yeah, the
was called the
Mexican.
executioner. Yeah,
Exactly. I
I
mean,
didn't like that too much.
so were you debating against other of some of your friends because you are supporting Pacquiao when you should support the likes of Barrera
Well,
or Morales?
the funny thing is, so my mind was for Manny, right? Because like I can see it, his talent, but my heart's my culture, right? You can't take that away from me. And I would literally start shaking and being nervous when I would see a Mexican guy trying to fight Manny Pacquiao. The Marquez, the trilogy, that was brutal, man. That was brutal. But I would always root for the Mexican in my heart because that's just my culture. But my eyes would be like, yeah, Manny Pacquiao's a bad boy. That's a very, very bad boy. And then his calves for his size, ooh, that boy has some calves on him. But definitely mad respect, mad props to Manny Pacquiao. And then he's so humble. He's just a really, really good guy. I would love to see him fight Mayweather, even though they're past their primes again. I would love to see that.
Man, I've heard. I'm not sure yet, but he's going to face Ryan Garcia. I don't know how they would do that because they're like two weight classes apart. I don't know
Yeah,
who goes up or who goes down. But
right.
yeah, it's really exciting that everything's starting to come back to normal. Like how it was last year for you, if I may ask, because everything shut down and I've been in Illinois, like I said, last October, and I just went home a month ago. And like all the places I used to go the year before, they all shut down. So how is it going on your end?
See, and I would. This would be a subject for differ. I live in a blue state, and what I mean by that, it's a lot of liberals, and in most liberal states, and someone could argue, debate with me. That's fine. They believe in the shutdowns more than the red side. Um, Here's my opinion on shutdowns. Educate me. Tell me what I need to do. But I'm a grown man. If I want to take the risk and eat at this restaurant, let me sign a waiver. But let me live my life. I don't think I think too much government power is a bad thing. Sure, I can wear a mask, but you know what? It's funny. If I wear a mask right now at a restaurant, which most places are still closed here in Illinois, you go to Florida, you go to Texas, it's wide open. Um, but if I go to a restaurant right now and I sit down, I can take off my mask. Well, why? I mean, there's you saying I can't get COVID if I sit down at a restaurant? During the whole time, the thing that stuck for me is that I believe in supporting local restaurants, right? The small businessmen. But
Same
if you
here.
go to a major chain like a Home Depot, there's hundreds of people there. But that small person that's trying to make a living, that has a pizzeria or a little Mexican, taqueria, they get shut down. That's just not right, man. And that's where I have a huge problem with it. Educate the country. Tell us what we need to do to, social distance, wear masks, whatever. I'm all for that. But that's where you draw the line. Let me live my life as an American, as a free man. Let me live my life. Open the schools up for those who feel comfortable going to school. Let them be comfortable going to school. But we're grown, educated people. Let us make our own decisions. That's my stance on it. I'm not saying COVID's a hoax. I've known people who've died of it. My uncle passed away of COVID. So obviously, I respect what it does, but I'm relatively a healthy, in my mid 40s. Uh, if I want to go to the gym and take the risk, let me take that risk.
Yeah, and just to provide context again to our listeners who are not in the US, it's a case to case basis because I would share what's happening in the Philippines. So, unlike the US, our stores aren't as big as a Walmart or a Home Depot where you could have like 6 feet between each other. So, it's mostly cramped up. And aside from that, the cases are getting high here and the health force are not enough to meet the demand, so they really had to close it. But I do agree with what you say when it comes to supporting local businesses, because it's one thing that got hit here so bad. And the reason is, being a small store, you don't have enough funds to pay for rent if you're closed for more than 4 months. And it's really sad, but I really hope. I know the vaccine's out there already on your end. Here, they're starting to bring it. Hopefully, when this comes out, everybody gets vaccinated or the process is starting to happen. But yeah, it's really nice if we start to build things again, because it's been a tough year for everyone.
Oh, I totally agree. You know, it's funny. The I heard Fauci, which is our CDC god, so to speak. He's gotten vaccinated. He's gotten the two vax. He's got the two Pfizer shots, I believe. And they interviewed him a couple weeks ago. Not to go into politics, because whatever, but he won't even see his grandkids. Like, dude, you've been vaccinated twice. Like, what is the issue? That's what I'm talking about. Is there's got to be a middle of the road kind of guy. You can't be so far right or so far left. You just got to be in the middle, and that's where I'm in. I mean, listen, if a left politician makes sense, and fine, vote for him. If the guy on the right makes sense, vote for him. But we're so toxic right now. We can't have a conversation. I don't know how it is in the Philippines, but we can't have a conversation here. And I'm trying to break that wall. I'm trying to break that wall so bad because I just can't stand the divisiveness and division in this country. We are called the United States of America, not the divided states of America. And it's just time to bring some healing. Healing begins. It all starts with the conversation.
Exactly. I mean, I could speak for the same here. There is, like, in terms of opinion, I would say everywhere in the world. And the reason is, uh, that's why I kept saying differ sounds very promising, is because you get to hear the voice of the person saying it. And you don't have to hide behind some Instagram filter, some TikTok filter, or some music. It's just purely the voice, your point, and you have the option to listen to it or not. Because there is this stigma, if you know somebody who you don't agree with, anything you post or anything that person posts, automatically you put a thumbs down, or if you like it, automatically you put a thumbs up without actually reading the context of what that person is saying. And that's why I am so excited Differ's going to happen. Hopefully it would come here sooner than later, because next year is our election. So it would be the perfect time for people to actually voice out their opinions, because I believe everybody has like a good point, but they're probably not saying it right, or some are misled because they're not properly educated with what the issues are about.
Right. I mean, we can roll this out to each and every country because, we don't all think alike. We don't all look alike or eat alike, Um, we'll definitely test it out here in the States. And if the traction's good, but I mean, that doesn't mean that you can't, you can go to the website out in the Philippines and debate. I'm just not going to have any advertising yet because that costs a lot of money. But people in the Philippines, if you share your video and you're debating against someone here in the States, you can share that with your friends and your family or whoever on your Facebook or whatever, and it can go viral in the Philippines and it can pick up traction that way. So we're not just being exclusive to the U.S. It's just the marketing will be exclusive to the U.S. If you want to roll it out to the Philippines, man, knock yourself out. I wish you the best. I look forward to seeing your videos. You know?
I'd love to. I'd love to start a conversation. I'm not aware or fully educated with all of the topics, but I'd love to listen to the opinion of my people, and of course everybody using on differ, because like it's a great way to have perspective without being too offensive.
Right, right. Everyone has a different, they're passionate about certain things. I don't think I'm an expert at just about anything, but I do
Same
have
here.
passion. I definitely have passion, and I know what I believe in, and I'll defend on what I believe in. But heck, Paulo, if you're right about something, you're right about something, man. There's nothing wrong with that. Just cancel culture is such a huge thing, and I'm anti cancel culture. Like, man, you're gonna ruin someone's life over a word that they said. That's still a human, man. That person still is someone's brother, husband, wife, whatever. They still have a family to provide for. That's just wrong. I just don't agree with that at all.
Man, I hear you. And also, like, not everything you say is going to be correct in other people's eyes. Like, probably for 10 things I say, people might get offended with four of them. And I wouldn't mean to, but at that moment, that's how I think. But if you share with me your opinion on why you think otherwise, I'd love to listen to it. And maybe I might change my opinion. Maybe I might debate it and give my point, but it's going to spark a healthy conversation about it rather than just ending at a standstill where I'm the bad guy in their eyes and they're the bad guy in my eyes. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right. Like if we were to post that subject is like, what do you think caused this ultra sensitivity? And I only had to guess one answer. I would debate for the reason of the moment we stopped disciplining our kids. To me, the moment you took that belt away from that adult parent, because I used to get my ass beat all the time, whether it's from home or my teachers, because I feared that, right? I feared my dad like bad, like man, you don't want to upset my dad because man, he's gonna get you bad. Now, in today's world, and you lift a hand at someone, at a kid, they're going to call the cops on you. So that encourages entitlement. Again, these are my thoughts, my opinions, and someone can, debate that. That's fine. But I think the moment we stop disciplining our kid and the parent began to be more of a friend than a parent, I think that's where we started to lose track of our kids and build this culture of sensitivity, and like that the most important thing is being offensive. And in my world, the saying used to be sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt you. That's the complete opposite today.
I mean, and going to what you said, if you posted that on differ, I'm sure it's going to get different opinions. But if someone who is a psychiatrist would answer yours with a video and say, hey, here are the facts on why it doesn't work, then the listeners would have an idea, and maybe they could find like a neutral ground on, hey, Louis may have a point, but the psychiatrist may have a point. I mean, this is something that I'd love to learn about, and maybe they could ask, "Hey, could you provide more information or thoughts on why you think this?" So, it's gonna be a good thing. Now, with regards to differ again, this is IDK What To Say. It's a show where people figure things out and learn from the best. I'd like to know, as a startup, like, how did you get funding? I mean, how does that work? Because I'm sure if you go to somebody and say, "Hey, I got this app," it's not as easy to introduce yourself, unless you're like an Elon Musk or a Mark Zuckerberg.
Right.
How do you promote differ to different investors or even to users? Being Louise.
Right. Well, what I'm doing right now is I have to pitch the idea of traction of how many people are going to be on the site. There's a lot of guessing though, to believe it or not. When someone says, "Okay, so how much money can you raise in the next 12 months?" Well, it all depends how many people are going to be on the site. So I will be using key hot topics but you take the word abortion. It's a very, very sensitive subject here. Um, and again, the people are going to make differ themselves, but it just comes down to of showing proof of concept, right? So you actually build a product. It's called an MVP. It's a minimal viable product, and you can find, if you could. Let me put it this way: if you really want to do something in life really bad, you're going to do it. And if that means stop going out to eat, cutting back here and there, stop, don't buy the newest Jordans, just save up money and build an idea. You're building an idea as a proof of concept and letting the people getting that feedback, right? You got to get the feedback from the people and just say, hey, Lewis, one round isn't enough, you know. And so, Paula, what's going to probably happen is that one round is going to turn to 2 rounds, and then maybe 3 rounds, and 4 rounds. And my idea of having a quick 2 minute debate may be a long 12 minute debate. I'll let the people decide. If you look at the first iPhone, the iPhones didn't have a selfie camera. They were just it had all these other features, but it never had the selfie camera. The people wanted the selfie camera, and that's what made, the people makes the product. So it just comes down to just really sweat equity. Stop making excuses. Stop saying I don't have enough time in the day. Listen, I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning, went to the gym, put in a 10 hour day here at work, and then I'm talking to you now. And I got to go home and support my family and spend time with my daughter and be at my grind tomorrow. Excuses, you just got to get rid of them. If you really are passionate about something in life, you just got to go get it. And you have a thing called YouTube. It's free, and you can watch any video to learn on just about any subject, right? So, you make your idea, you make it come to fruition, and then you pitch it to investors. And then you have a thing called LinkedIn. LinkedIn can introduce you to many investors, and you get in front of investors. I've already done 2 pitches already, and they're interested. The next step is seeing the finished product. And that's where I'm at right now. So I'm looking to raise capital just for marketing purposes, but it just comes down to building an idea. Everyone has an idea. Everyone has an idea. Make it come to fruition. Can it make money? Can it grow? Can it go viral? During a pandemic, will it survive? Well, this is just social media. It's going to survive, and then letting the people make it whatever they want it to be.
Yeah, man, I could already see it being viral the moment you release it. I could think of the topics you would post, and the comments it would get. Just the right people being in that platform would shake everything up, and that's why I'm excited. But going to what you said, man, you said you were going to the gym, you worked 10 hours. Um, is it safe to assume you love the grind? Because I love the grind. I'm a dentist, but I do this in between, and I also make music. I love being busy, and I love doing things that people think isn't possible to do. It's like a chip on my shoulder.
Right. No, absolutely. The way I look at it is I have a 7-year-old daughter. I chose to have a child. It's my job to put her in a position where she grows up in a better environment than I did. It's all my responsibility, and I want to provide a good, strong work ethic that her dad sees. She sees her daddy at the gym. That means he's into fitness and working out, and she sees me going to work. That means he has he's responsible. She don't get it now. She'll get it later, and then she's going to say, "Well, Daddy, created this site called Differ, and she can be on it as well. She's excited about it." And so I want to be the role model without having to say, "Hey, I'm your role model." Right? The president doesn't say, "Hey, I'm the president of the United States," or "I'm the president of the Philippines." He just is. He just simply is. And
Exactly.
it's my job to be a role model to my daughter and to my immediate family. And we all reap the rewards. I'm not a selfish person. I would love to provide for my family and my loved ones. But again, like I mentioned to you at the very beginning, is I want to hear that inner voice from my parents to say, I'm proud of you. And that's an unquenchable thirst that I need to see come to fruition.
Exactly. Now you did mention your daughter being on Differ. Like, are you saying there's going to be a possibility for kids to be on Differ, and will there be like some monitoring or some restrictions on some
Of
topics that
course.
they cannot access?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be age. You'll enter in your age, and then you're going to be debating with people in your same group. I mean, a lot of the topics will be like, who's the best superhero? right? It's so subjective, but they can have a ton of fun with it. Or, why is math better than science or whatever? The good thing is that they're already thinking, and posted a video, and these are things that we're to be able to expand your mind, to be able to actually be tolerant of someone else's beliefs as well at such a young age. I only see positive things having kids do this, and of course, doing high school debates and middle school debates is going to be fun as well.
Yeah, and one thing I could think of that would work for kids, like I said, I was there last October, is, if you could put a topic like, should kids be allowed to go trick or treating or not? We could hear their opinion, because, I mean, that those events are for them. And I mean, yeah, because we, like, on our end, they allowed trick or treating, but they didn't allow you to go out and meet the kids. You just like leave the candies on the doorsteps, and that's a good way for you to gauge if the kids really want to go trick or treating in your area or not. Because I believe we didn't pack enough candies for the kids to get. Oh, forget them, man.
Well, and we didn't go trick or treat in my neighborhood because it was kind of dangerous. But um, yeah, I mean, what's your favorite holiday? Christmas, Valentine's, Easter, whatever. I mean, there can be some very uh, regulated kid subjects. A very small genre that they really can't choose their own subjects. They'll kind of be given. They can just choose a subject and upload a video, just to make it kid friendly.
Yeah, man, I hear you. Now, going back to differ, based on what you said, is this just going to be mainly a website, or are you going to release an app that's downloadable in Apple or Android?
So yeah, I mean, right now we're building a website just because it's economically more feasible. It makes more sense as you're doing a proof of concept. But we will be on the App Store, through iOS, and then through Android as well.
Okay, so yeah, going to what you said, it's gonna be on Android, it's going to be on Apple. How do you plan to get this going? Would you have influencers? Would you reach out to influencers to try the app? Also, would there be hashtags available so that at least people would be aware what the trending topic is on differ?
Yeah, a lot of it'll be through social media. There'll be social media invites. So if there's a, God forbid, but let's just say there's a gun shooting in school that takes place in the morning, then that's going to become trending, right? So on Facebook and Instagram, and it'll be pushing the topic with a link. And of course, I'll have an internal team that's going to be posting videos, and then from there, basically start talking to investors just to see that way they can visualize the proof of concept, the comments, how it was shared, um, and then I go large with marketing. Marketing is a huge step. Um, you know, uh, in differ is getting the hot topics of the day, getting them out to the people, and taking them straight to the link to debate. So they'll have to, of course, sign up to log in. It's going to be free, so there's going to be no charge for that. But it's important to know, your demographic, your age, so that way I can know what kind of restrictions to put on the user.
So yeah, man. With regards to that, when MySpace was out, Tom was so active on it. When Facebook was out, Mark Zuckerberg has been posting from time to time. How active do you see yourself talking with the users of Differ once this rolls out?
I will be very active. I will be debating with people. I'm going to have a lot of fun with it. I love to debate. I absolutely love to debate. So I will be talking to people, debating with people, sharing, getting my family and friends to debate. And then I do have a marketing plan to get a certain people, a certain group of people, to be on Differ. That'll gain a lot of traction. I'll keep that a secret for now, though.
Man, if I could share my 2 cents, guys like Gary V or Ben Shapiro would kill it on Differ, man. I would love to see their videos on it.
Ben Shapiro is on my target list.
Oh, there we go. There we go. You have to make it happen, cuz if it is, man, I'm going to sign up immediately.
Also, are you familiar with who Stephen A. Smith is?
Yeah, man. Of course, man. Like I said, the Philippines is an NBA, is a basketball country. So yeah, they have varying opinions on Stephen A. Smith. So I'll leave it as that.
Right, and that's a good thing for me.
Are you gonna get Max too, or are you trying to get Max too on the show?
Oh, Max isn't as controversial. I like Stephen A. because he's just more controversial,
Oh, that is
and
true.
he's a
That
lot
is true.
louder too.
Yeah, and imagine the conversations that differ users if they talk to Stephen A. Smith, because they're used to see him talk to Max, but if you get to debate Stephen A. On what he is saying, that's gonna be cool, and how he would react to your opinion. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I think a lot of those moments where you're debating against a celebrity would be a moment you probably would never forget. It's going to be a lot different than tweeting against someone who that's an icon, as opposed to debating with someone. Um, I mean, not saying that a Mr. Donald Trump would be on differ, but I can see him on differ too. I mean, you're
I
just a
can.
handful of people away from this going absolutely viral. So we'll have a good marketing team. The marketing team will be very, very superb. Uh, I'm just looking forward to it. I really can't wait.
I think Donald Trump would be. If there would be differ followers, I'm sure he'd be on the top list in no time with what he'd be posting and what the engagements would be. Man, that's gonna be a crazy one.
Yeah, I wouldn't silence his vote or his voice. I know a lot of people would want to debate against him. It'd be good for the site.
Yeah, man, definitely it's going to be good for the site. And we're very grateful for you sharing your time with us. But before we let you go, Luis, I mean, is there anything else you want to promote, or like any socials that the people could follow you at, so that they would be aware, because hopefully it's already out once this episode is published.
I haven't done any social media sites yet. I've been kind of keeping this hush outside of talking with you on the podcast. Um, I will soon, and maybe I can communicate that with you in the next few weeks or something. Um, but I've just been keeping this very quiet. I've been working very, very hard to get where I'm at right now. And once we roll it out, I'll share that information with you behind the scenes.
Man, perfect. And again, thank you for giving us first dibs on this. I've been very interested since the beginning of the show, and I can't wait for it to come out. Again, we want to thank Luis Longoria for joining us in this episode, and please continue to supporting the podcast, following us on all our platforms. We'd love to hear from you as well. Again, this is Paulo Gonzales and IDK What To Say.